A very good morning to all of you. I'm Dr. Sudipti Arora, and it's my honor, privilege, and I'm so humbled to be here today. It's a moment for me, a defining moment truly, as I'm speaking before you as my first TEDx talk. And sir, with great gratitude, I would like to thanks Jim Skalkaji for giving me this platform and an opportunity to be here. So before going into my talk, I would like to ask you a question. Do you believe in magic? Those who do believe in magic can please raise your hands. Amazing. And those who don't believe in magic will never find it. But let me come back to this question again at the end. So today, I would like you to take you all to a journey that started in a small town, Karnal, with a shy, little introverted girl. Yes, I was very studious when I was in school and not very extrovert. But I always imagined myself to become a teacher. I used to imagine myself wearing a sari, teaching a group of students, and used to imagine myself teaching. I dreamed of being a teacher. But as I grew up, like any other small girl town, I thought let me become a doctor. I thought it would be more privileged to become Dr. Sudipti Arora. So I started imagining myself as Dr. Sudipti Arora. And I worked in day and night to pursue that dream. I worked really hard and I completely believed that hard work will pay off. But of course, my dreams shattered when I couldn't clear NEET examination. I was shattered because it's the dream that you truly hold on to when it doesn't come true. But then I got another path. I got to study BTech in biotechnology from Amity University, Noida, and biotechnology became a new path for me, a new challenge. At this stage of life, I was wondering, what am I doing? So I set on to my goal of doing MTech from some of the IITs. So I dreamed of going into the IIT, and while all my friends were, busy in canteen, enjoying their college life, I became a bookworm. I became a nerd. I actually studied a lot because I truly believe that if you will go on holding your dream and if you will work hard, you can surely become successful. So after working day and day night, again, I couldn't clear GATE examination. At that point, again, I thought, will all this hard work ever pay me? What am I doing? But I got the opportunity to do MTech in Environmental Engineering from MNIT Jaipur. So I went there to Jaipur and I started exploring this subject. I got the opportunity to understand the threat our planet is in. Planet crisis, climate change, and a lot about sustainability, sustainable development goals. So at this point, while I was studying and exploring this field, I came to know one thing, that this environmental field is not just a subject of study. It's more than that. It was my calling to heal the planet, I thought. And at that moment, when all of us would be waiting for our placement offer letters, the moment came in my life when I had two offer letters. Now, one was a government job at Rajasthan State Pollution Control Board as JEE, and the other was to pursue PhD from IIT Roorkee. I asked my friends, I asked my family, everybody told me that of course you should go for a stable, secure position. Government job is what everybody wants. But you know what? I remember that shy little girl who used to dream about teaching. So I pursued my PhD. I started this journey with IIT Roorkee and I started with the dream that I was manifesting from very long. I chose the uncertain path because I believed in my dream more than stability. So as a PhD scholar, now I was juggling between my lab work, research work, and also my personal life because at this point, I also got married to the love of my life. I thought it would be very easy now, things will fall in place, but as it says, now it's even more challenging to maintain a long distance relationship, managing both my families. And of course, the struggle of a PhD scholar, anybody would know, you have to manage everything and everything should fall in place. But with the support, of course, that I received from my family, from my friends, I started on with this journey. I remember one time while I was working with earthworms for wastewater treatment as a vermifiltration technology, I lost my diamond engagement ring in the filter. That was a moment, and so many moments that came. So I started this technology using earthworms for sewage treatment in a small bucket. I started exploring about it. Initially, I felt difficulty in placing worms into the filter. I remember one night I was traveling from Jaipur with a box of earthworms to Roorkee. The whole night I was juggling between, because these earthworms were kept coming out of the system, and I was juggling all the time to get them back, and of course the strange looks that other passengers were giving me because of the smell. So I came back to Roorkee, I went to my lab, I inoculated these earthworms into the filter, and I went back to hostel. And you know what? When I came back after a few hours, I could not see a single earthworm in the filter. All the worms had died. At that moment, I realized that there was a rat in the lab which ate all the worms, and I had to protect them from rodents. So there was many such moments which made me, all the highs and lows. And then for each PhD scholar, there's always a moment when you feel, when will this PhD be over? At that point, after 2 years, one moment that came was I lost my guide, Professor Renu Bhargav, to cancer. Yes. Now I had absolutely no idea that what to do with my PhD degree. How will I complete it? I was shattered. And I remember when I was taking her back in the ambulance from Roorkee to Jaipur for treatment, I remember her holding my hands, and she told me one thing. The last word that I could remember was, Sudipti, please take this technology forward. Please take it to the people who need it. So yes, I went back. I gained all my strength to complete my PhD. I was allotted another supervisor, Dr. Kazmi, and I put in all the hard work that possibly I could do to complete my PhD in 3.5 years with 8 publications. Well, a record that no one has ever broken in my department till now. So moving forward, I came back to Jaipur. I joined Dr. Bilal Institute of Biotechnology, and I started working on this technology. The technology that is completely nature-based. The technology that can solve a lot of challenges when it comes to sewage management of developing country like India. I got a lot of awards, recognition for this technology, but I thought something was missing. With many publications as an environmental research scientist, I was able to secure a lot of funding, but there was something missing. I was not sure what I was missing. I worked really hard to get a patent on this technology year after. But still, something was missing in my life. I thought something was not aligned to what I really want to do in my life. And it is at that time when I was teaching a group of students, and I was teaching them integrated solid waste management. While I was teaching, one of the students stood up, and one of the students like you outrightly challenged me. He said, "Ma'am, whatever you are teaching is wrong. These all systems do not exist." And I told him, "How can you say that? I think you should go to the library, open this book, and you will find." And suddenly I realized, yes, he is right, because whatever I was teaching and whatever I was taught is some foreign authored book. And does this system actually exist in India? I was not sure. And it is at that moment I realized that I should do something. On his insistence, we went to this village, Andhi. He invited me to see what all problems they were facing, and I was shocked. Frankly, I had no experience of going to the villages before that. I was shocked to see a lot of problems related to waste management, solid waste. There was a family who was crying there, and when I asked them, they said that they lost the family member because of snake bite last night. I saw a group of students who were playing with snakes just outside the school. I saw the attendance register, and I was shocked to see that most of the students remain absent because of health problems. Then I was actually going through the entire village. We did a lot of surveys. I saw this black pipe hiding through the fields. I saw that the entire sewage, which was contaminated with lot of waste, including diapers, menstrual pads, polythenes, plastic, this entire wastewater line was going in the field. And there was this lady who was irrigating that field. And I asked her that, what are you doing? How can you use this highly contaminated, untreated sewage for irrigation? To which she innocently replied, ma'am, you know, this is a water scarce region. We belong to Rajasthan. There's no water. I said, yeah, I understand, but this is wrong. How can you use this water for irrigation? And to which what she replied was actually shook me. She said, ma'am, this wheat, the wheat fields, this wheat, we are not going to use it in our village, nor I'm going to use it for my family. We are going to sell it in the cities. So that's not a problem. To which I was like, the level of awareness that they have is something which actually made me challenged myself that what am I doing? What are all the research scientists doing? Just making the technology in the lab and publishing it in books, journals, getting it patent, but there is no science which is actually going into society. There was a huge gap between innovation and implementation. Science to society was a major challenge, and it was that time when I realized that as a research scientist, it's not worth publishing millions of papers if you are not actually making science for society. And that's how when I started my NGO, Prakrit Foundation. Prakrit Foundation brings in the change that we want to see in the communities. Going through these villages, I came to know a lot of other challenges. Livelihood. The youth is unemployed, and there were a lot of other challenges that the people are facing. It's the calling, I think, that I was waiting for since many years. So I started this journey where I now aim to bridge the gap between science to society, the awareness through community mobilization, through various projects. At the moment when I was waiting for the project funding to transform Andhi village to a zero waste model, COVID happened. I had to wait for 2 years to get the funding, to secure funding so that I can transform this village into a zero waste model. And you know what? While the life was actually going very smooth and I was very happy, life threw another curveball on me. There were 2 letters at the same time, again. One letter was the secured funding of 2 crore from Government of India to transform Andhi village into a zero waste model using green technology innovations. The moment I was waiting for, now I could implement my patented technology actually to the field. And the second letter was that I was diagnosed with stage 2 non-Hodgkin's lymphoma, exactly at the same time. Of course, I was shattered, I was devastated. I didn't know whether to be happy for that sanction letter or to be sad. But I knew that if I have this letter today, there's something that I have to do with it. So I knew that I will go through it. But also I knew that time was precious. I might not have much time. So I started this journey. Nothing could stop me. I used to ask my doctor how many chemos I do have to take, at what time they are scheduled. Just the next day of my chemo, I used to go to the field. After my radiation session, I used to have meetings. So a lot of work happened, and of course, the journey started. Initially, there were a lot of difficulties to convince people that why we are here. Why would they trust an environmental scientist coming from Jaipur? They used to question me, is your city clean? Why are you coming here? But I knew I had to do something. Slowly and slowly, we transformed the village and we win their hearts. The journey then, of course, started with some more projects, and this is what I call as a social entrepreneurship. I'm very happy to share that I call myself more than an environmental research scientist. Of course, as a scientist, I am here to bring more innovation to the field. But as a social entrepreneur, it is my duty and responsibility to take that technology to society. So I call myself social entrepreneur, and I feel proud to call myself as a social entrepreneur. Because I believe a social entrepreneur is not a person who has to just think over profit. I'm here to think about people over profit. Moving forward, we now work for rural resilience. We now work for urban revolution. We are trying to make a change to transform communities through environmental management. We realize that climate change is coming and there is a need of sustainable development. To all the younger generations here, you are here for more years to live in. So it's your responsibility to think about it, to think about people and planet over profit. I'm proud to share that I also represented India among the 14 people who were selected across the globe, and I was the only one from India to represent in UN Water Conference in New York last year. I visited 5 countries in last year, and this all is possible because of one belief that I had in myself, that dream of doing something for the society. I followed my passion. I followed my dream. I went into places where I could never imagine myself, coming from a small town. Of course, I was in news, but that doesn't matter. All that mattered was the impact that I am here to create. Today, we have empowered 10,000 plus people. Our impact is in 4 villages. We are trying to make these villages a zero waste model, a sustainable model that completely works on sustainability. We empower youth to work towards sustainable development goals, to make them a reality, and to work for society, to work for people. Of course, there were a lot of things that happened in the milestone, but what is more important is that I followed my ikigai. I followed my passion. So to all the youth out there, today as you are sitting here and hearing one of us speaking in the TEDx, I would just like to leave you with a thought. If you ever wonder that if you had one dream, maybe in the childhood, maybe now, just follow that dream. If you will follow your dreams, you will tend to be successful, much happily successful, I would say. But if you will follow your success, you might not land up. So it's always that you follow your dreams, follow your ikigai. For ikigai, I would say there is a world out there waiting for you. You just need to follow your dream. You just need to follow your passion. You just need to work hard. Among so many challenges that might come your way, but do not become stuck because of challenges. In fact, fight for it and win the heart of many, many people around you. You will be super successful. And this is my magic mantra that I'm here to share with you. And I hope now you all believe in the magic. So let me ask you again, do you all believe in magic? Thank you so much.